not following the lead. They're seeing it, but they're not going. What if you did the opposite?
We are rolling. Backup is rolling.
Sweet. All right, have we covered everything?
Yeah, that just about wraps it up, doesn't
All
it?
right, sounds good. Yeah, that's the nature of the podcast. We just talk about what's on our mind, and it's never, sometimes it'll just be like less than a minute, and that's our prerogative.
You can find this episode at tfsr. We don't have a website /9d5.
Yeah. Oh my God. Now one of our listeners is gonna buy the domain instead of a whole prank website.
Maybe they'll do that and then they'll give it to us. That'd be really nice, actually. If anybody wants to set up a website and just donate it, that'd be great. Because it's not exactly the highest priority, probably.
Yeah. We do have listeners. I think it's single digits.
It's
potentially single or potentially double.
I would have to assume, just based on my experience with YouTube and stuff like that, is that most of the audience keeps very, very, very quiet.
Yeah, that's true. And we get feedback every so often. I'll talk to friends. They're like, yeah, I listen to it.
Same. And it's awesome. I feel like TFSR is like my favorite little obscure thing that I do. Like when I have somebody.
Yeah, it's almost nice that it's small.
Right.
Yeah.
Like when somebody, those are my literal favorite messages. It's like, I listened to what you and Sam said on Thoughts from Space Rock. I'm like, yes, dude, those are like my most exciting messages. Genuinely. Like, I'm not even just saying that because it's on this podcast. Like, it actually feels really cool.
Yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was saying, like, when we first started the podcast, we were like, you know what, like, we are just going to do something that we really enjoy doing, that we would enjoy doing, even if there wasn't any listeners. And I think in the back of our mind, we still wanted to do everything we could to, like, market it and to, like, try to get people to listen because, like, it's fun, obviously, for people to listen. And we did try, and, like, I don't know, it kind of, like, eventually we were like, all right, like, we kind of let it come back to baseline a bit, like, all right, like, we have the listeners we have, we're just going to keep recording these. And in a sense, like, yeah, like, we've kind of come back to that, like, just like of course we wanted it to get a lot of listeners, but even though it didn't, it's like that what do you want to call it, like a fail safe or something, it actually, I don't know, like, we really do enjoy it, and I think that's creatively good for us.
Yeah, I think it's genuinely enjoyable for the two of us, and I don't know, if we literally had 0 listeners, maybe we would just have conversations without microphones.
Yeah.
But I think it's really fun, even if there is a very small group of people. And I think, look, I think if we marketed the shit out of this and we got a bunch of people, it would be less genuine in a way. You know, we would end up with a lot of people that are loosely interested, aren't really our target. Whereas right now, if you're listening to this, you're probably deep down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. And although at the same time, I think even if we did have 0 listeners, it would still be really cool to record it because these are like, we can always go back and listen to these.
Oh yeah,
like,
for us.
the rest of our lives. And like, it's, I haven't gone back and listened to any of them. And it's like, what do I want to listen to myself talk for 2 hours? But at a certain point, I probably will want to. So yeah.
Same. Yeah. I've only listened to them when they're fresh off the recorder. I've never gone and listened. I haven't gone back and listen to the first or second episode or something like that.
Usually every week I listen to all of the episodes.
Just on constant loop.
It's like, I love hearing myself talk.
In your noise canceling AirPods.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. I love about you how you get these little obsessions. Like
I do.
You do. And they're, I do the same thing, which is probably why I recognize that in you. Is like we just find these little things and we like really obsess about it. From my perspective, yours are like hard to predict, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Yeah. Like I feel like from my own head, I kind of know what type of stuff is going to be it's going to weirdly captivate me. Mm-hmm. But then I see what weirdly captivates you, and I'm like, whoa, like this browser, what's the deal? Or like AirPods Pro, like really, like that's so. It seems so obvious, but then you think about it on a deeper level.
Yeah, I guess what it is I'm following technology like semi closely, and generally you're with new technology, it's like a bigger camera, faster this, faster that, and I just see all the ways that technology is kind of like fucking us mentally nowadays, and maybe a recurring theme is like whenever technology comes out that I feel like actually helps our mental health and like helps us maybe, I don't know, whenever something comes out that is like surprising and hits me from an unexpected direction, it's like, oh fuck, this is good for the world. I kind of just get obsessed with it.
Yeah, it seems like there is a overlap between new technology and ethics, or some other word for ethics, or general good, that it seems to be the Venn diagram of your obsessions.
Yeah, maybe that's a good way to put it. Yeah, saying ethics is like it's like a slippery word, but like I get what you mean. And
yeah, general good. I don't know what a better word would be, but
yeah,
helps people. Just isn't just a slimy way of, hooking more people into your product, but it's something that is genuinely beneficial for them and the world.
Yeah, and it's like, well, just to sort of mention the AirPods Pro, I got them like 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, I love the AirPods. Like, these new ones have noise canceling. That sounds really useful, especially for working in coffee shops. Like, I'm gonna get these, and it's so great because like I'll be sitting in a coffee shop and you like hold the AirPods for 3 seconds, and then the noise cancellation goes on, and it's like the world just like fades out, and whether you listen to a song or listening to nothing, it's just like it's like that feeling of like the air conditioner being on and then you forgot about it and then you just rip the plug from the wall and it's like quiet, and like that's the feeling, and it's like holy fuck, like especially in Los Angeles, this is really valuable.
Yeah, so right before this I actually tried them, and I'm weird. I'm terrified of EMFs and stuff like that, so that's why I personally don't use or buy them, but I wanted to try it, and I fully agree. I mean, it really was that feeling of, like when the air conditioner kicks off, or when the refrigerator stops making that weird noise in the middle of the night, and you're just like, whoa, was that happening the whole time?
Yeah.
It was really nice, and even the I guess it was called the transparency feature. That was interesting too, and because that kind of almost amplifies your surroundings and brings it into the closed environment of the AirPod, right? I mean, that's an accurate way of saying it.
Yeah.
I would be curious to do more testing with the silencer mode against, not versus the transparency, but versus nothing in your ears, because it seemed to me like when you first put them in and it starts picking up your environment, it almost amplifies your environment
A tad, yeah.
So then it's a starker contrast.
Oh, you can actually switch the AirPods to like regular mode where they're not doing transparency or noise canceling, just like they're just normal, not doing
So there's
anything.
like 3 modes.
Yeah, you can, if you go into the settings, you can.
Yeah.
But I've even tried this, just having noise canceling and then just taking them out, and it is a starker contrast from transparency mode to noise canceling, but it's still a huge contrast from normal.
Totally. Yeah. If only we could make ones that have literally 0 EMF. It does get me thinking, though, is like even a product idea. I'll just throw this one out there. Something that me and Jessica have talked about is like sleeping with earplugs seems like the best idea ever until it's horrible.
Right.
And like, how could that just be improved? Like, I mean, just to literally, I mean, what if you could just have literally just earplugs? I mean, I would probably put those in just to like read or work or something.
Oh my God, dude. I was
sleep, obviously.
Yeah.
Sorry.
2 days ago, I was in the morning. There was like some workers like with a jackhammer right outside my window, and it's just like really hard to sleep. So I was on one side and I just like was so tired, but it was worth it. I reached over, grabbed my right AirPod, had my left AirPod on the pillow, left ear on the pillow, put the right one in my right ear, and it's just like I'm sleeping. And then 30 minutes later, I like switched out the other one, changed sides, and it's just like actually it slept a lot better.
Dang.
Yeah, not that I want to do that for the entire night, but
Yeah, that does also remind me of something I said I wanted to test, which is I'm really curious about the EMF output when you're not streaming music, when you're not taking calls. Like, what are they? What are the AirPods doing when they're just sitting in your ear? I'm really not sure if they're like, are they constantly pinging the phone? Are they, constantly searching for Bluetooth signals? Or I guess they don't. Do they use Wi-Fi or is it all Bluetooth?
It's Bluetooth.
Okay. Bluetooth is an order of magnitude less, intense than Wi-Fi, but I wonder if it has to be constantly pinging or else it wouldn't know when your phone pings them. You know what I mean? I think.
Yeah, I don't know how the technology works. We'd probably have to test it.
Yeah, we should do that. My friend has a meter. I'd be really curious.
Nice.
But no, those things, I do get the appeal if it's just it's just one of those things. Like, I would have them otherwise.
Yeah, it's a balance for sure.
Yeah, but I do see the benefits. And what are some other oh yeah, you wrote an article about it.
Yeah, I just wrote a short article. I've been like trying to just practice writing and not like worrying about what I'm writing, and just like if I'm interested in something, I'll just write a thing about it, and it doesn't need to be a long, in-depth article. It's just like a quick thing.
Yeah.
I just like wrote it, posted it, and I'm just trying to like practice writing and just get into the regular habit of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's no like financial incentive or anything. I just wanted to write.
Totally. You might as well throw an affiliate link in there.
These sell themselves. Apple doesn't even need to make an affiliate program.
Yeah, but they're on Amazon, right?
Oh, yeah. But I almost see it like for my blog itself. I could always change this, but I just don't want to do any affiliate links just because like,
yeah, I get that.
That's my writing. Like, as much as I do trust myself for like writing honest stuff and like trying to put the reader's perspective first, just like, and I do affiliate links on other blogs. Sure. But just like for some of it, it just like feels like it's.
Yeah, I get that. You're seeing this as
it's like more sacred
creative project. Yeah, totally. And yeah, I mean, we could definitely go down the writing rabbit hole or save that for later. But I think that is like, a topic that has continued to be on both of our minds. Same for me. It's something I want to practice. Maybe at some point we should both do a daily writing challenge or something like that. But
what would that look like, do you think?
What was that?
What do you think that would look like?
What it would look like? Put out any piece of written content every single day for 30 days.
I heard someone on Twitter I follow who like teaches writing. He's like, write daily, publish weekly. And that sounds very doable to me. We could start that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That does sound good. Yeah. I mean, I haven't, so I was writing those Facebook sort of like articles. I don't really even know what to call them. I was only putting them on Facebook. I wasn't really fleshing them out into like finished articles, but I was doing that. And then I decided to start like the newsletter, which is a ton of fun, though I haven't used it yet for actual like writing. I've been more doing like sort of Tim Ferriss variety 5 Bullet Friday-esque type of thing.
Yeah.
Basically that format.
Which is writing. It's just more
sure
different short form. But anyway.
It is. But it's not like, I don't know, it's not like a thought experiment necessarily. Some of the individual bullets are, like the 5th one in today's email was kind of like, could have been a whole, it could have turned into like, say, an article, but instead I just kind of put it as like a few sentence thought. It was just this thing about like, it was inspired by, so one of my friends commented that something that always recurs on our podcast is this concept of botched quotes. I'm trying to remember this
I'm
quote.
gonna butcher it.
Yeah. And it's so true. And it's because like you realize like a lot of these professional podcasts, they're going with a lot of notes and stuff. It's hard to just be encyclopedic about quotes. But anyways, this little short thing I wrote it was inspired by some quote I literally don't even remember what the quote was, who said it, where I heard it, but it inspired this concept, which was that to sort of judge your freedom by your ability to actually have hobbies and do thing, just like explore things, like have hobbies, have interests, have passions, like, not just be the CEO of whatever, but maybe you like learn how to make tables in your garage or something like that. You just have these weird little obsessions, like you're taking this comedy class, and I think that's awesome. That's not, you're not looking to get an ROI off of that. It's just like, oh, I'm floating around on this rock. Here's an interesting little skill that I can learn. And
So go.
It's just, it really is just that. Is I think hobbies are kind of a form of wealth. Like, because you could be super rich, but super tied up, super type A, super just always on, always productive, like a productive machine, But if you're not, but I feel like hobbies are sort of the other side of that, which is it's kind of the interesting part of life, right? It's what are you using your abundance of time that you created through automating your business for, or what are you using the money you created for? Like, what are you doing with that free time? And I just think hobbies kind of are a measure of wealth in a way.
Oh, for sure. Like being able to, you want to not be so free that you're just eating cookies all day.
Or ice cream,
which I have been there, but you also want to have the freedom to be able to explore your curiosity, and it's such a fine line, because you actually don't want to be able to explore all of your curiosities, such as, I wonder if I ate 12 cookies right now, because you just from experience know some things aren't good, but you want to have time. So yeah, I think it's like, I'm reading this book that this reminds me of, and I'll tie it back in a second, but it's actually the one that Tim Ferriss has recommended on everything for the last month, Awareness by Anthony DeMello.
I read it.
Okay, yeah. I'm in the middle of it right now.
But wait, by the way, just to interject, like his recommendation recently of that has gotten so strong. Like, he's just like, if you don't listen to anything I've ever said ever, just listen to this one thing, is to read this book. I'm like, whoa.
If you don't read this book right now, you are actually not into. I don't know. Trying to think of an insult that.
Yeah. No, just go for it.
You are actually not intelligent. Good one. Yeah, but so
Anyways, sorry.
One of the things I read in the last few days that stuck with me is he was like, you can't, like, awareness just is, like, you can't actually, like, go, like, you can't, I'm gonna try and paraphrase, you can't, like, be wrong. Like, if you're just sitting there and you're just thinking of like your errands, and then you're thinking about like you're getting new shoes, and you're thinking about like your emails, like, well, that actually is what you're aware of. It's like, it's only bad if you're trying to look at a tree and focus on the tree, but it's like to just be aware of where your mind is going, like that is the game itself. It's only when you're like, no, I need to be aware of the tree, and then like you're resisting your awareness. It's like, yeah, your mind just goes where it goes, and when you stop trying to like control it and point it in a certain direction, and you're just like aware of where your mind has gone, and like aware of maybe, oh well, what caused that, and just like to more almost detach from the thought itself, and just to observe it happening. I'm just like, oh yeah, like that's kind of how our minds work. And then that's the reason that it reminds me of, is like, I'm just like, yeah, like I'm going to do comedy. I don't need a reason to do it. I don't need to look for an ROI. I also don't need to not look for an ROI. It's just like, this is how things unfold.
Right. It's just a cool little thing to explore. And I think on the awareness topic, I think often people think meditation and, this concept of presence and all of that, the goal seems to be to have no thoughts at all. Like, people kind of make that assumption. And I think I've realized that same realization is that that's not the goal. It's more just to, how many thoughts do you have that you don't even realize you're thinking them? It's like we all have multiple personalities or something in our head.
Yeah.
And the goal, I think, is to not let the autonomous thinking rule your life, the one that you don't even notice, like you don't even realize that you're thinking about this thought. Like you're not there. Your brain is just spiraling out of control, thinking about some stuff, and then you're like, whoa, like, wait, where am I? Like it's not even you at that point. It's your brain just creating these thoughts and laying them in front of you, and then you have to be the one to create the space to choose some thoughts, to be aware of others, but ultimately to be there with your thoughts.
Yeah, it's the transition from the person that's running from, let's call these thoughts trees, and you're like running from one tree and then the other tree and then the other tree, and you're like just like going from each one to each one, and then to transition from identifying with the runner of that guy running around to the guy on the side in a chair watching the guy run around.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like once you identify just with observing it, it somehow is more detached and less anxiety inducing.
Right. Yeah. And training that awareness really is the practice, right? I mean, to be able to not lose that sense of where your thoughts are, what you're doing while you're thinking them or while you're doing them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard. Isn't the hardest part of all of this like when life just scoops you up and kind of gets you into other modes? Like, for example, just maybe 2 weeks ago, I was, meditating on the beach and reading Stillness is the Key and all this stuff. And then this past week, Jessica's parents were in town. We went to Disneyland. Like, when all that's going on, it's really easy to kind of lose that.
Right.
And you just get a little bit lost in it. Like, even right now, as we have this conversation, I realize that I'm a little less present or conscious of my thoughts than I was when I was so actively practicing this, even just 2 weeks ago.
Well, that's what it is, though. It's just to be aware of it. And like when you're at Disneyland, just to be aware of how you're feeling. And then when you're here, to be aware of how you feel now and like can think of Disneyland. It's like you don't want to just... We want to be able to do things and like observe it. And you don't just want to be someone that only meditates on the beach and reads Stillness is the Key over and over.
For sure. And yeah, no, if it sounds that way, for sure not. But I think when you are doing those practices, it made it much more in the forefront of my mind throughout all the other things I was doing. Whereas when I, wake up and am rushing to go to Disneyland and not meditating and not reading and not going for a walk and, not having the space for myself, which, by the way, I mean, it was fun. I'm not saying it like, never go to Disneyland, like never have fun. I just mean it's crazy how that does sort of knock you off that trajectory of mindfulness. Yeah. And then, I don't know, like, I guess, Jessica's parents left like yesterday. So like today's kind of my first like normal day back on track. And the day just kind of flew by. Like I was not really on my sort of usual routine and agenda for what would be like a normal day. It knocks you off course a bit.
Yeah. I've been thinking about the concept of like balance. It's like from what you're saying, it's like I feel a little bit off balance right now. And I think what's interesting is like we have been interested in all of this like stuff for years. And the interesting thing is like we've read these books and it's like we've learned a bit about we just have like a mental framework for thinking about this like stillness stuff or whatever you want to call it, but it never really gets easier. Like there's no like formula that works every time. And I feel like the reason that I think balance is interesting is that there's no such thing as a skill of like how to balance. I just picture someone kind of like walking on like a thin branch or whatever. It's like the entire concept of balancing is just being aware of how you feel and making adjustments as you go. And then sometimes those adjustments turn into like over adjustments. But if they turn into over adjustments, you can't just do what you did 5 seconds ago because then you're going to over adjust even more. So you have to like be like, oh, in the past that solved it, but now this is going to solve it. And it's just like, I feel like life is a constant like over adjusting. And then like, it's just like it's all just awareness.
That's a good way of putting it. I liked the analogy. I think you worded that nicely. That was enjoyable.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah. It is true. I mean, I think balance is sort of an illusion, right? I mean, you're never in balance. You're making corrections.
There's no state of balance. That's only like it's like a continuous process.
Right. It's
of
like
self-awareness.
it's like you're constantly either shifting your balance left or right. You're never literally just straight down the middle. You're like, I got way too much over here. I got to go back over there.
Yeah, and I think that the struggle that our psyches tend to do is like you just get a little bit, you like want to take yourself, like we talk about the importance of being present in the moment, but sometimes if you're present for a while, it's like, fuck it, I just want to get out of the moment. I want an escape. Like I want, call it a drug, call it whatever. It's just like when you eat 12 cookies, when you're scrolling through Instagram nonstop, it's like your mind does turn off, and that's like also enjoyable away. It's like,
Yeah.
like all of these spirituality
Or
books
sleep.
are like, even awareness, it's like wake up. It's like, shit, sleep is enjoyable,
Yeah.
and being like mentally asleep is also enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like maybe the goal is to be as awake as possible when you're awake and to be as asleep as possible when you're asleep.
Well said.
Yeah. Sleep hard, wake hard.
Yeah.
Get that tattooed on your face.
Down.
Yeah. What else is new? Austin's coming up.
Austin's coming up. The other day, I've just been trying to think about like what I want my life to look like in Austin. Like, what do I want to do? It's like, if I move there, am I just gonna become a different person? Like, probably in some ways.
Not
and
go
not in
by
others.
Sam anymore. Just come up with the
Like,
new.
I'm Aubrey now.
I was literally, dude. You literally just like we just had telepathy. Like I was thinking that's like what Aubrey Marcus did. Is like had a new name and all.
No plans
You're
for
Aubrey.
that.
Aubrey Feldman.
Aubrey.
No relation to Aubrey Marcus.
I'll just change both. I'm
Aubrey-
Aubrey Marcus.
you'll be
Like,
Aubrey Marcus.
Imposter? No, I'm inspired.
I identify as Aubrey Marcus.
It's 2019, folks.
Oh my god, I identify as Aubrey Marcus. That's amazing.
Yeah, but dude, I'm pumped. So I was in a coffee shop the other day, and I don't do this all the time. Usually I'll just like drink coffee and do work, but sometimes I'll like take a hit of a joint and like be a little bit more free flowing, and also drink coffee during the day and just like write out my thoughts. And sometimes that does help me to just like stop worrying and start just getting it all on paper. Like this quote I posted to Wise Tooth, it was like, write drunk, edit sober. And it's
Yeah, and Tim Ferriss talked about that on that Q&A.
yeah,
I think
he did.
Yeah, and he's saying that he's actually practicing that right now for his book.
It fucking helps. Like, you don't want to really go infinitely down this rabbit hole, because then you wind up
An alcoholic.
like on Venice Beach, fucking out of your mind.
Hey man, a lot of those
sleeping during the
people
day.
are published authors out there.
Yeah, man. They probably are. But anyway, so I was writing, and I was just like freeform journaling, and what I got to is like, well, what do I even want? And I was like, well, I want to run regularly, I want to read regularly, I want to write regularly. And this turned out, but like, what about business? It's like, well, I want to do this Bitcoin.guide thing. I want to like, I want to spread around Brave. I want to like do this, but I also want to do yoga. And I just like ended up with this list of everything.
So this is kind of a guide to how you want your day to look like. Like,
well, I would say how I want my life to look like.
okay.
It's like I divided it into like regular routine, business stuff, social stuff, health, and like spirit/fun. So like for regular routine, I said I want to read, and the point of this all is like I felt so good writing all of this out, because I'm like, holy fuck, all right, there's actually like a lot of stuff there, and like maybe I can't do it all, maybe I can't do all of this, but just to like know these, like everything I wrote is really important to me, And just to be able to like look at it, it's like, all right, like you can't prioritize. You can't make a list if you don't know all of the options that might go on the list. Like, so now it's like, okay, now this is in my mind. Now I have to maybe choose what's most important to me. It's like regularly I want to read, write, meditate, run, walk, yoga, cold water. It's like in business, this is the real section where I might need to choose. It's like ideally I want to like find a way to build software, maybe some sort of like online communication, just to be even more broad than social networks. Like maybe do like build a blockchain thing, maybe build like hardware that's designed for better focus, like maybe like hire people. It's like I want to have friends, I maybe have like a mentor. It's like I want to sleep well, I want to eat healthy, I want to like travel, maybe like start to take drum lessons or something, do our podcast, like do like stand-up comedy, do like improv classes. So it's just like,
it is a lot, yeah.
Like maybe go snowboard. Like it's just a lot of shit, and like maybe I can do it all, but maybe I have to choose. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Or like the balance thing. I mean, you rotate some things in, some things fall off for a while. I mean, that's definitely how my life has looked. I've never done it so structured the way you kind of made it in all one document, but I'll have these random little notes about like things I want to do. Like one I made years ago was like things I want to do every day. And then I did another one, like things I hope to do someday or stuff like that. And it's always interesting to go back to is like, maybe you go back on that list a year from now and you're like, snowboarding. Like, I don't really care that much about snowboarding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which I don't.
Well, then you should probably scratch it off the list right now. But yeah,
I'll go once a year.
Yeah. So that's always been interesting for me. Like, I don't know. Like I've at times made efforts to get back into a lot of hobbies that I've had and give it up. For example, like playing guitar or like photography, just to take pictures. Obviously I do a little bit of that, like business wise, whether it's, personal brand stuff or a product or a little bit, but I mean, just to go out and take pictures or, I used to play golf. Like I really liked it and I got super out of it. It takes a pretty big commitment to get decent enough to actually enjoy it. You know what I mean? It's a very, I don't know, like the right phrase for that, but it's one of the higher, like upfront effort for the reward things out there.
Right.
Like you're not going to have fun until you've basically practiced for a year. But yeah, I mean, at one point I was like, I should get back into this. Like it was so much fun when I was like in it. And, but then it's like you said, it's like, dude, I have so many things. I have too many things. But yeah, on the hobby, that ties in nicely with the hobby thing is, I probably have enough hobbies right now.
Yeah. It's like an Alan Watts idea I read. It's like, if you have a hobby because you're trying to relax and have fun, that's not fun. Like, you don't want to like try and get fun out of a hobby. The entire point of a hobby is that you're just doing it and you're forgetting about stuff and you're not trying to get anything out of it. And it's like, yeah, it's nice to do what you love for work, but it's also nice to do what you love not for work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's so much of a push right now just for work, at least in our little ecosystem bubbles of the internet where everyone's constantly talking about entrepreneurship. At least that's mostly my bubble.
Yeah.
It just seems like everyone is just only concerned with the work and only concerned about, like you said, finding the work they love so that they can do it 24/7.
Yeah.
And it's like, when did the conversation of entrepreneurship shift from lifestyle businesses to this always on 24/7 productivity machine world? It just, I don't know. I like the idea of working 10 or 20% of the time and filling the other time with hobbies or free time or no agenda or other, because a lot of times I'll put out content like this and people will say like, well, you can't just do nothing. You can't just, and I agree. And I don't think that's ever what I've implied. But maybe you work on something that is not ROI. Like you work on getting better at comedy. You work on writing. You work on, your body, exercise. You build something, you write music, you write poetry, just these hobbies that you can explore, and you can be productive in these things. It's just not it's not going to increase your conversion rate, it's a different work.
I think that the idea with a lot of these things is that you want a lot of your efforts to be pushing sort of in the same general direction, so that all of these different efforts will generate, call it like the same compounding interest. And that over time, like, you might be working on different things, but they will all sort of add up, and you're going to be able to like really make an impact in like one direction. Because something that interests me is like, I don't know, it's like, what is happiness? Like, what do I want? And one thing is like, I want to like impact the world in a way that I think is good. Like, I want to spread change, or whatever you want to call it. I don't want to just like be happy on the top of a mountain with my like 10 people. It's like, I don't know. Like, I think that I could bring value, and I'm not sure what the exact mechanism is, but it's like, well, if I think that I could bring value, then why don't I want to do that on the biggest scale as possible? Not so that the entire world loves me and that I can feel good about myself, just that it's like, it feels good if it feels good to give, then doesn't it feel better to give more?
Yeah.
Like, and by give, maybe what I mean is like, get the feeling of giving. Like, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, that was in that, I think it was in my video about time, like life is short. I think it was in that one, or no, it was in one of my recent like more thought experiment-y type of videos, maybe the rat race one actually. And that was something that like pushed a couple people, pushed their thinking a little bit, was this concept of a lot of these impact entrepreneurs are still just doing it for their own ego. It's like, and I'm not saying that's what you're thinking, because I think the same way. I think like there's still absolutely something in me that wants to go big and wants to impact the world. But then I also have to think or ask you, why? Like, why? Where does that desire to impact the world really come from?
Certainly, I think it's like, we can't really escape our egos being people. It's like, and like this is sort of inspired by Alan Watts, but it's like, the quickest way to having a fucking giant ego is to convince yourself that you've gotten rid of it. It's like, oh, it doesn't exist. I can do whatever I want. And it's like, you're still going to be pulled by that ego desire, but you're just going to convince yourself that you're doing these things selflessly, which is fucked. It's like,
totally. Yeah. But I think that's what I'm talking about, which is like these people that think they're doing the impact thing selflessly, but it's really just for them,
which is what we want. Yeah.
Right. So I'm not saying it's not about having no ego whatsoever, but at least having the awareness to understand what your drives really are.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like, even like shit that I've done with business now, it's like when people are like, yo, like, you've like marketed, like, you've like referred this many people to like a tech company, like you've done shit. Like, of course it feels good. Like, it's hard to completely detach from the compliment. It's like, even like when someone comments like, yo, like, this video is sick, it's like, I'm sure that feels good. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that feeling good. I think it's just to be aware of like, if you really identify with the compliment, then you're also going to really identify with the insult. And the stuff is going to start to smell of the people that watch it compared to you, which is the entire reason they watched it in the first place. So it's a balance, but it's like, okay, so let's do this thought experiment. So the urge to like be big is maybe partially ego fueled, but like, man, I don't know. Like, I feel like I even look at like Mark Manson as a really good example, because I think that he does it well, where it's just like, he's writing shit that he enjoys. He's writing in like a fun way. Like, he seems to not like have his whole ego involved. Even like, I went to his book signing in LA, and like at a lot of these book signings, people get like celebrity hungry, and they're like all like fanboying out, and like, it's like, oh, what if I get to talk to him? And you just fucking sense it in the air. And at his thing, it was just like so relaxed and like it's like, yeah, like I don't know, I like stood in line to get my book signed. I asked him a question, and it's just like, I don't know, something about the whole vibe. I think he does it well, and I don't know exactly what the cause of that is, but I think it's kind of bullshit to just renounce trying to do something on a wide scale just because we can't, like, just because it might be unhealthy for our ego. Like,
yeah,
I think it's
totally.
kind of a demon that you have to battle with.
Yeah. I think it's not about demolishing it. It's just about being aware of it and kind of like allowing it to, course correct a little bit.
Yeah.
The way I think about it is like, look, I think I would feel the best right now if I would feel better having a platform where I can influence people than making the most money and having people pat me on the back for that. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, because also like people patting you on the back, people congratulating you, people, you're so great. It's like, it's not necessarily like, it does feel good, but it's so fucking hollow and empty that like deep down it's not like fulfilling. It's like a cookie.
Right.
It's like it doesn't make you full. It's just it gives you a rush of dopamine.
And I think what fulfills me is like, and there's probably ego and stuff to analyze in this too. Is I think what fulfills me is kind of feeling like people take what I'm saying to heart.
Yeah.
More than like I'd probably rather have my videos and or writings or podcasts or whatever sort of like content platform. I'd rather have that reach millions of people and make me $10,000 per month than make $150,000 a month, but like no outward sort of it is giving back, it's like I feel like I would feel the best by giving back through that content platform rather than just being like, yeah, I make this much money doing this weird little business over here, and people like to be impressed by that, but I don't really talk about it or spread anything. Like I would much rather I don't know. I think part of me, and this probably has for sure again has ego wrapped up in it. I just think that if I had this platform, I just something in me tells me I could like put it to good use. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing in you that's going to allow you to get it.
Yeah.
I feel like in my mind, yeah, if you really know that you're the person that's going to put it to good use, then you'll think of ways. Like, you'll arrive there. Like, it's
just been hard.
It's been
so hard.
Here's what I think it comes down to is, like, if you're actually really interested in something, then you're gonna be passionate about it. And like if you're actually like just open about being interested and not worried if it's cool or not, and you're just like doing your thing, then people are just gonna attracted to that passion. Like, dude, societal winds blow in every direction. Like, people are fucking obsessed with Drake now. Like, that music was totally different than what we were hearing 10, 15 years ago, which is totally different from 20 years ago. It's like people are just attracted to the passion and the energy, and whatever the actual message is like kind of beside it. It's like if you're actually being honest about what you're into, then not saying Drake is the best example because like I don't know, but yeah,
I get you, and that's probably an area that I'm maybe not could improve on, say, YouTube or anything else. Is like I think I have gotten to a point with it that I judge myself more than when I had nobody watching, and now I'm probably a little bit too flat. I'm probably not really letting my personality come through as much
because you're thinking about the people that are gonna watch it.
Yeah, and I'm also trying to get new people in. Obviously the people that are listening to this are like the people that are really tapped in, right?
Yeah,
but like
they are really cool.
Yeah, no, seriously,
so cool.
They're the coolest
Yeah.
podcast listeners ever.
Yeah.
Let's like whisper in your ears as congratulations.
Yeah.
No, but the thing is that obviously the people in my audience that I'm talking about right now are the ones who like would clearly not be listening to this, but
Losers.
a lot of the audience, I still appreciate them for being at all interested, but it you know, they don't care about mostly anything that I care about. And
Right.
like my audience is in tiers, right? There's like this right here is probably like the deepest and smallest tier, right?
My audience is in tears right now, is what I heard at first.
My audience is in tears. Yeah, but like, so this is like the deep, intimate, tapped in, small tier. But then
Yeah.
there's, you know, there's like like probably the majority of people that have clicked the stupid red button on my channel, like really have very little in common with me. And that makes it really tough. And I think that's also creating this negative flywheel with YouTube, because if I try to do something else that I am passionate about, the first audience that sees it are mostly people that don't care about it, which signals to YouTube that this is a low quality video because people were not interested in it, which tells YouTube to not show it to the people that would be interested in it. Like, so I'll see channels that do kind of like the more thought experiment or, you know, personal development or stuff like that videos, and they go massively huge. And it's like, I just keep trying again and again and again and again.
It's tough to rely on an organic, unknown algorithm, you know?
Yeah. It just, I feel like this is a topic that always recurs, but, you know, I would tell anybody else to, you know, not compare yourself to other people, but like, I just constantly see it as I just see these channels that have like, you know, one video hits and they're set. And, I just feel like I've given a lot of at-bats. You know what's crazy? I mean, I don't know, this might not blow your mind or people listening as much as I would think, but, I think people would assume, like, look, I think I'm about to be at 24,000 subscribers. Mm-hmm. I would be really curious about the stats on how this compares to other channels, but I don't have a single video above 100K views. Not one. And I would venture to guess that most channels with 24K subscribers have probably had, you know, multiple 100K, 200K, 500K, even a million view video to get there.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that means, but it's just interesting how like I've never had that like sliver of like a strike of electricity to like supercharge it. It's really been like it really has been the Gary V put in the work. Like, you know, I'm like 200 videos in or something like that. And like, you know, I get 5 subscribers per day and like, that's just, now we're here, you know?
But here's the thing. Let's imagine a world where that you did have 100,000 views on every video. Like
that would change everything I'm doing. Honestly.
How so?
Well, financially, it would change everything I'm doing.
Yeah.
For one, I mean, just on so many levels, because it would feed everything else that I'm doing too. And it would give me, how I was talking a minute ago about the small but passionate few of the audience, it would grow that chunk of the audience to the point where it was meaningful. Okay. Like let's say hypothetically 0.5% of my audience would pay me $75 a month to get like, I don't know, some kind of special content from me on a variety of subjects, not like just some Amazon FBA mastermind thing, but like maybe we'd talk about biohacking. Maybe we'd talk about starting a YouTube channel. Maybe we'd talk about, you know, whatever, like all this like variety of topics. I would never expect that to be a mass appeal type of thing ever. But if, you know, I mean, if my videos were getting millions of people, the small but deep part of my audience would be, you know, 400 people. Right. Whereas right now it might be 4 people.
Yeah.
And that's just for a financial reason, but obviously, you know, it would lead into like the YouTube revenue alone would probably be enough for me to say, hire additional people and get more serious about my videos, start new channels, spin off other channels. That's something that I really want to do and it's also like, you know, whatever that phrase is about, like putting the I don't even know what phrase I'm trying to. It's some old phrase, but forget that. Scratch that. Edit that out. No, I'm just kidding. Like, because I mean, I'm looking for this one channel, my Matt Loberstein channel, to succeed, obviously. But I'm already looking ahead and thinking, if it was there, then I would have the power to create these other passion project channels. You know, like I go through phases where I'm super obsessed with watches. If I had 1 million subscribers on YouTube, I could be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do a watch channel on the side here. You know, only a few thousand of you people will give any shit whatsoever about this channel, but I can kind of like, you know, have the spark to light that fire by doing that and kind of kickstart it. And then maybe that channel goes off and does its own thing. And maybe a year down the road, that channel is producing enough revenue to pay for itself and hire,
I feel like you're thinking about, like, I get what you're saying. And like with all these things, like, it's like there's a million ways you can take it, but it's like you don't want to think about it too rigidly in terms of like 2 years from now, I want to have this YouTube channel be huge, and then I'll have the watch thing, and then I'll make these biohacking.
That's an example about yeah. But
it's like you just like never know like where your interests are gonna wind up, and you don't want to like script the whole story first. It's like if you're really following your interests and if you're doing things that are like legitimately fun for you and like feel like they like haven't been done so many times before, and it's like new stuff. It's like if you're doing new stuff, if you're like on the cutting edge, like I don't want to sound too like bullshit philosophical, but I really think that it is inevitable that you're gonna like carve out your own niche and have people be following you almost because you're not focused too much on the algorithm. So you've gone in a different direction than all these other creators that are going for this like short-term algorithm spike. It's like, I think that, I don't know, it's like you want to be aware of whether the content hits or not, because you don't want to just do the same thing for the rest of your life and have like whatever many subscribers. But I don't know, I think of it in the long term. It's like my articles that I'm really interested in, that I'm doing for more like personal projects, like they don't get that many views. That long Binance coin article I wrote does get some, and like people that view it like appreciate it, which I like. It doesn't get that many because it hasn't like popped or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's like, yeah, I would like to have a lot of readers, but I just know it's like if I just practice writing, like I'm gonna get better at writing, and if I get better at writing, then it's gonna spread. It's like these skills. It's like the Tim Ferriss Q&A podcast. It's like the skills that. It's so much more important to think about the skills that you're developing when you're doing it, because if you're developing skills that compound over time, then it's impossible that you're going to lose in the long term.
Yeah, totally. I think part of it is at this point, I do think of YouTube as a business. And, you know, I'm all for the writing and not having a lot of people. Like, for example, I started the newsletter. That's a passion project. I have 148 subscribers to the newsletter last I checked. Nice. It's small. There's basically zero financial incentive. You know, maybe I will put an affiliate link if it's a book I'm recommending anyways. Mm-hmm. I've made exactly zero, and I expect to make zero. And, you know, that's kind of like what you're saying.
Right.
The thing with YouTube, though, is like, yes, it can be fun. Yes, it can have passion in it, but it's different because it just is a business at this point. You know, there's expenses that go along with this, and there's a lot more effort, a lot more time, you know, a lot more equipment, a lot more just, you know, it probably takes up more working time than anything else that I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that it would actually be a fairly easy statement to make at this point. And so I guess maybe, yeah, I would just think at this point, like it would be, you know, somewhere.
I don't know. It's like, even from the way you're talking, it's like, I know you've been trying for so long, and I'm here just like commentating on this shit. So like, I get that you have a much deeper and more like legit perspective just from your experience. But I'm thinking it's like, dude, like you're smart, you're creative, like you're good at making videos, like you have very high attention to detail. Like, it's just silly for me to think that you couldn't figure something out.
Then why haven't I figured it out? I don't know.
I mean, don't ask me.
Yeah.
But
well, I think you'd have a good sense of it too if you really.
I don't know. Like, maybe like think outside the box. Like, do something different. Like, do something different, and if it doesn't work, then do another different thing, and then do another different. Like, really get fucking crazy with, like, don't do, like, just try fucking pretend that you're gonna, like, dude, like, I was gonna run out of, like, I just think back to when I was gonna run out of money in a month in LA, and I was trying all of these different business it's like, when you really, like, are willing to figure shit out at all costs, you do. And I think that just sometimes the comfort of, like, we're already making money in some other businesses can be a detriment. It's like, if you're really hungry enough for it, then you will figure it out.
Well, I've been really giving it a shot again lately. So I don't know if you remember, I mean, and we can move on from this soon, by the way.
And what I'm saying is not, it's like, give it a shot, but also change the definition of giving it a shot, and then try, like, in the end, it doesn't have to be totally polished. It's just like your strategy, like, rethink the strategy, think about, well, what might work, because a lot of times there's, like, the gospel of what works, but then if you try other shit, like, people don't know the algorithms fully. Like, there's white space.
Totally. Yeah, I just haven't had anything hit that algorithm at all.
I don't know, like,
it's
even
crazy.
Like this, like, I randomly uploaded this, like, how to shrink sleeve a bottle with, like, plastic wrap video on my, like, I was making these, like, protein drinks, and I bought this, like, label that you kind of, like, fit over the bottle, and then you get, like, a heat gun, and you, like, blow it on, and then this, like, label kind of, like, shrinks to, like, form fit the bottle. So I was just, like, trying to get publicity for that business. I was like, I'll just, like, set up my, like, iPod Touch or something and record it, and I uploaded it to YouTube, and, like, 4 years later it has, like, 40,000 views.
Dang.
And
wait, so it seals a bottle?
So it's this bottle with a cap on it, and it's a label. Imagine, like, kind of like a curvy water bottle type thing, but then a label that's, like, sort of a perfect cylinder. So if you put it over, it's maybe gonna, like, touch the bottle on, like, one area, but it's gonna be too wide for the bottle and the rest of the areas.
Got it.
So then it's too wide, but if you apply heat on it, then the label shrinks down and fits the bottle like a snug sweater.
And does what?
It just acts as a label.
Oh, okay.
It's just like a bottle label with, like, nutrition facts and stuff.
Oh, okay. Got it. Interesting. That's so weird, because one of my friends had a video go viral that he just slapped up. He doesn't have a YouTube channel or anything. He made a video about, like, resealing water bottles, like single use, plastic bottles. It was about, like, how to sneak alcohol onto cruise ships and shit like that. Like, how to reseal a bottle as if it looks like it's just a sealed, like, crystal geyser or whatever. Yeah. That's really, I feel like that's weirdly related. But no, like, back to the point is kind of like just throwing stuff out there. About 2 months ago, I was really giving it a shot, and I posted 3 videos a week for about, I don't even remember now, 6 or 8 weeks straight, 3 videos a week. And then I just hit a fucking wall, because I was just like, well, if nothing happened now, then, like, what the fuck else can I do? So then I was, like, very sporadic, posted, like, probably once every 10 or 12 days on average for, like, a month or 6 weeks or so. And what I was throwing up then, I just started, like, I just detached from the outcome. I put up one video that was just a 45-minute cut of me talking with 0 edits whatsoever.
This is the one with, like, the topics on the left, right?
It was like the update. It was just me talking about a bunch of shit. Here we go. I'm going to do another one of those, by the way.
Okay.
People seem to like it, but it didn't go anywhere. I mean, it's not going to bring in new people, but it's still fun to do. But then now in the past several weeks, I've hit 3 a week for 2 or 3 weeks straight right now, which is, like, only the second time I've ever achieved that.
It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fuck ton. It's ridiculous. But a lot of these that I'm throwing up, I'm just trying shit. It's like what you're saying. I mean, these are just, dude, I threw up everything from an unboxing of a watch video. In the past 2 weeks, I've done an unboxing of a watch, almost like a video essay about time and spending your time. I've done videos about Q4 on Amazon. And this morning I did a video about how I make coffee on my espresso machine.
You know what else?
Like, I'm just throwing shit out there.
You know what else you could do? Like, if you want to learn about titles, like, you could upload 2 videos, the same video with different titles, and then put it on the ad network and see which one gets better click-through rates, which one, like, gets lower CPMs. It's like, you'll probably learn things
like
about,
unlisted video, run it as an ad first.
Yeah, you could do that and figure out what's the better title.
That's a really interesting idea. Yeah. I mean, there are people that will like put up a video, look at the click-through rate, try a different title, try a different thumbnail. But it seems hard to really get a good gauge of that because the data is going to change. It's like you're looking at too short of a snapshot to really be able to adjust on the fly like that, in my opinion. But
well, if you do it like $20 a day on each one,
yeah,
for
the
like
ad
3
thing would
days.
work. But I'm talking about people that do it just like naturally.
Oh yeah,
like people that just edit their title after like 3 hours of posting the video, because obviously
that's hard to predict.
your click-through rate's going to change after 3 hours anyways, because you're going to have those initial subscribers, then you're going to have different, like it's not going to be, you can't really measure it that accurately. But no, I mean, running the ads to it is good, or even just simple things like trying to ask people what they thought of my thumbnail and title before I posted it. Like I sent you a text. I've been sending a handful of people, for their opinion on certain ones, like titles, thumbnails, things like that. And that's the thing is, like, I know, like, and we really should move on. I don't want this whole podcast to just be this topic.
I'm into it, yeah.
All right. But I have videos that have the look, they have the title, they have the thumbnail. The content is good. Like, I know the content is not the problem. Like, there are channels that blow up with shitty, horrible, terrible content.
But you can't just like chalk it up to why they blow up because they got lucky. Like maybe luck was involved, but like, dude, I saw some guy on Twitter that like posted, what did he post? It was like there was something on Twitter that went viral, and it was like I found the world's best blank ever. And then it got 300,000 likes. And then there's this other guy on tech Twitter that posted he retweeted himself. He's like, just for proof, like I posted this 3 days ago and like it didn't go viral. It just goes to show that like luck is so involved in what goes viral. But I fucking looked at this guy's original tweet with the same exact idea. And I wish I could remember what it was. It was like he was retweeting the same thing. And then this girl retweeted it, but with like a much snappier caption. And that shit went viral. And in my head, it was like, no, it's not luck. It's that like the caption was everything. And it's such a small detail, but it really does matter.
Yeah. But don't you think I've had enough? Don't you think it would? I mean, like I've done 100 videos probably in the past year. And I put a lot of thought into every title and thumbnail. Like I would just think it would have happened. And look, here's the thing. I'm not trying to get a 10 million view video that like gets me onto the fucking the whatever TV talk show people watch. Like I'm not trying to do that. But dude, if I had a video get just, I mean, whatever. You don't even need to put numbers on it. But I'm just looking for something, Yeah. I'm just looking for like that micro viral push.
Maybe like that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like figure out how to talk to someone at the YouTube team that like is involved with the algorithm. It's like I'm just sure, like I don't know. It's just like you can always, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna find a way to do it.
I think I have a good sense of it though. Like I'm in it. I look at these other channels. I look at my own. My stats are good. My retention is high. I would think. Like how long the people stick with each video and. It all seems good, but I mean the algorithm does. It just picks up certain videos and it shows them to new audiences, and then it keeps doing that basically. And it just seems like my channel is like on probation or something. It's weird.
Which is possible, but then even that, it's like, well, if you can figure out that it's that for sure, then you can just direct your effort towards something else. It's like there's no point in just going on for years and not knowing.
Yeah. Even say like a lot of people will say don't cuss on YouTube because that like kind of kicks you into a different realm. But some of my biggest videos, I'm saying fucking shit and everything like that. And I don't think I've cussed in a YouTube video, maybe like 1 or 2 thoughtfully chosen fucks in the past. Like I don't actually know, maybe 0. But very little cussing now. Like just little things like that I've even tried to tweak. I don't know, dude. It's a pain. It's just weird. I don't know. I just want to have it be worthwhile. I guess. And it is worthwhile. I mean, like, look, I get feedback, and again, if we haven't scared everyone away after this rant, anyone listening to this is like, they get it. But it's just like, damn, like, oh, and when I posted that time video, last like Wednesday or whatever, I like really gave that an effort as if I had 0 subscribers. I mean, I went back to day one. I was like, what would I do if I had 0 subscribers? I was like texting people, like just for one view, you know? I was like, I posted it on Reddit and like 7 different subreddits. I posted in like 5 different Facebook groups. I was like, is this even allowed? I don't know. I'm just going to post it. What's like worst thing they do is delete it or kick. I was just like, dude, I'm just going to hustle like I did day one. I was asking my friends to share it. Like I was like, share it. And I even told like my audience, I was like, anyone that like tags me on Instagram, like showing that they're watching this video, I'll repost it. Like I'll like everything. Like I was like really trying to hustle this video out there because I thought it was the best video in a while. And I had like literally like so many people be like, I watched that video twice. Like I saved it. Like that was your best video. Like it was so good. It really hit me. Like even like a good friend of mine was like, look, I had never watched a video of yours and I watched that video. It was fucking amazing. That they told me that. I was like, holy shit. Like, whoa. And they said that they like told their friends about it or something. One of my friends was literally sending me screenshots of him like texting his friends out of the blue to watch this video. And like how could, I don't know what else I could do. And that was like a really punchy title and thumbnail, in my opinion, I thought.
I don't know.
And maybe it'll blow up in a month or two, but like quite surprising that like, I mean, even doing all of that. And I mean, look, I'm grateful that it doesn't have 3.5 views, but, oh dude, I didn't even tell you this, but this one is anyways, I was going to look at how many views that had. I think it probably has like 14 or 1500 now at this point.
Okay.
Like 10 days in, which is okay. But, dude, this like crushed me.
Hold on. I'm going to run to the bathroom.
Okay. All right. We're back rolling.
Back.
Yeah, so okay, we have both peed and we're good to go. So,
all right.
So yeah, one last thing on this is what absolutely crushed me about this video is I had a so when I have video ideas, I just have this running Evernote doc where I just put like almost like a working title on this list, and it'll be enough for me to know what I was talking about. Like, oh, this is a video idea, right? Like it could be like, I tracked my sleep for a year or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that would be enough for me to be like, okay, yeah, I can know what the video concept is. So I had a working title for that time video for a month or two, probably. And it was, I just had I had time anxiety written down. And then I put, why you never have enough time. That was like my concept for the video. Right. And related to that, there is a channel that I really like. He's great. So this is no dig to him. Nathaniel Drew. And he makes really good videos about, mindfulness and just kind of like being more present and like just like that quality of life type of stuff, right? Like some videos about meditation or journaling or things like that. And I've watched him blow up. I found his channel. He had probably around as many subscribers as I have right now. As of today, he has 513K subscribers. Like he's just gone to the stratospheres in a matter of a couple of months recently.
Yeah.
And 5 days ago, which was about probably 3 or 5 days after I posted my video, he posts a video titled, Why You Never Have Enough Time. Mm-hmm. That was the exact working title I have on my Evernote.
Yeah.
Like word for word. And I'm like, and he's great. I haven't watched the video just because I feel like shit about it, but he's a great creator. Like I don't mean it to him, but he's cracked it. Like his channel got picked up and now everything he does gets pushed. That video in 5 days has 217,000
So talk to him, reach out, say, what did you do that worked? It's like, there's gotta be something like,
dude, it's like I hate to like blame luck for this, but like it's just the algorithm picks these people up and it just happens. It happens to good channels. It happens to bad channels. I mean, I guess not 100%, but I'm pretty sure if you asked him, he would be like, I was making videos for a while, and I was, learning my craft. I was getting better and better and better, and all of a sudden, this one started blowing up, and then because that one blew up, this one blew up, and like that's always the story. And I'm not saying my videos are better than his or as good as his or anything. I mean, he makes really good videos. He's like a legit filmmaker, probably better than mine, but I think I've been doing it longer, and I think that, I don't know, it's just that one like really like hit me hard because I was like, dude, it's the word for word title that I had on my list.
I just don't think you have anything to be anxious about. It's like if you keep getting better and if you keep making videos, then eventually it'll just be so good that it has to spread. And right now, is it so good that it has to spread? Yeah, I don't know. Like you just like you can't like rely on this like luck algorithm to like spread everything. It's like it's either you're gonna figure it out or you're not. But it's like if you're focusing on getting better and if you're focusing on doing it, it's like you can't get anxious about what hasn't worked. It's like just like try and figure out what's gonna work, or don't focus on it anymore, or like figure out. You've got to just be like relentless until you find shit that works. Otherwise, you're just like mulling over what didn't work, which doesn't help.
Right. No, and that's why I'm just trying things, and I'm trying to detach from the outcome. I'm trying to be even more diligent about making really good videos, and I think my videos have gotten better. In my opinion, I mean, and I get really good feedback on them. Like on that video, I got really powerful feedback from people on it. Even like friends like that would usually just be like, yeah, like whatever, like, but then they were like, dude, I watched that one and like, holy shit.
But maybe this is the video that you can only make once you have a big audience. It's like there's so many questions that it's like maybe the video, it's like I once saw a tweet, it's like you don't become Naval by tweeting like Naval.
Interesting.
Which is an interesting point. Not to say that it's a direct comparison to you, but it's just like maybe you have to get big by making more like.
You're right. But that's the thing is that if one of these videos just had that luck strike, then
you can't think of it as a luck strike.
Then this video would have gone. No, but it is a luck strike because sometimes, dude, go to your suggested videos right now. Half of it's going to be like horrible, just weird shit. Like it's just, it really is like that. I mean, and YouTube is
maybe it's like that, but if you think of it like that, then you're gonna go crazy.
YouTube is giving views to certain videos, right?
Yeah.
Like YouTube could put my time video in front of 100,000 people. Like they could do that. And here's my thought.
Sorry.
My thought is just that if it was given that chance, I think it would do good. Right?
So buy ads, boost it.
Yeah, but I don't think ads would work because I think you want to grow it organically. Because I think if you're forced it upon it, then it's actually going to lower the analytics of that
Nobody's
video.
forced upon it. You see an ad and you choose to click it, right? I'm not saying force it. I'm saying like do like sidebar ads. You can do any type of ad.
I could try that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last time I haven't tried those in a while. But
what I come back to is like if we're talking about it and our conclusion is that it's just luck, then what the fuck are we talking about?
Well, okay. Look, maybe I've misrepresented it. It's not just luck, but luck is a puzzle piece of the whole equation.
It's not luck is not a puzzle piece though. Puzzles are strategic. Luck is you can't even focus on.
But it's like here's the thing. It's like okay, your videos are the right length. Like let's say there's like a checklist of 10 things.
Okay.
Right length, tells people to hit the like button and subscribe. Is an interesting topic. Is visually interesting. Like let's say we check all those boxes, then you just need that. Boost of the algorithm.
Yeah, find another box to check. Like I'm just saying, it's like you feel powerless if you think it's all due to luck. And like there's always if you made a video that was literally not possible to not share, then
but I'm not
share.
that good.
I'm just saying, like keep getting better. Work on like realize that what you're playing is a long game, and returns happen exponentially, and you never know when they're gonna happen.
Yeah.
So if you're really in this for the long haul, then like. Be learning, like get feedback, and like you really can't control the outcome, but there's no point in stressing over like if you, I don't know, it's like if you see it as a long-term business and if there is a lot of luck involved, then it's just like it's like stressing
maybe luck
not gonna,
maybe luck is not the right word, but it just there is that algorithm component and something triggers the algorithm, right? People will tell you it's the click-through rate, it's the retention, it's if they stay on YouTube after it. And I can't imagine that my analytics for any of that stuff are exceptionally poor compared to some random channel that doesn't seem to doesn't seem to do any of the quote like proper ranking things that I'm doing, right? And
yeah, but maybe they're doing something else. Like, maybe because they're not doing, like, keep in mind, proper just means in line with other people that are being successful. But you can never, it's like, launch a product on Amazon 5 years ago. It was much easier than it is today. But today the tactics are different because you always have to, like, stay ahead of the curve. It's like, maybe you don't upload them to YouTube. Maybe you do, like, a video email list or some shit. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's like that, like, fail fast and, like, try other shit, startup mentality. It's like, maybe try another network. Like, maybe try, like,
right, like
Reddit
LinkedIn
subreddits.
Or
like, I'm just like, it's, I don't know. I'm sure. I think just, like, keep working on your craft. Keep, like, you're making enough money to live on from other things, which is really great. It's like, you don't want it to be soul sucking. So you've got to find a way to, like, enjoy,
and it's
doing.
not, and I do enjoy it. I just also, like, kind of expect a reward at this point. That sounds so weird, but, like, I just, if I listen back, this is definitely not one for me to listen back to.
Well, it's honest. I mean,
it is honest, but I also just I feel
this.
like I'm complaining a lot. But it's just has been hard, and it's like, you know, we're like.
That's my frustration.
We're 2.5 years into this thing now, pretty much.
Yeah.
And
it's like, I want you to be doing something that you're, like, really, like, into and you're, like, excited about. And it's just like, I don't know. I'm just like, dude, like, you've got to, like, get excited or, like, be into it. I had a coffee earlier, right? So who knows if that's just
think about it though. It's like, I think about how much I diverted my resources away from things that were like Amazon.
So
like,
divert it back. Like, you're in control.
What do you mean divert? But
like, you can do whatever you want, and you have endless creativity at your disposal. Like, you deserve to be excited about what you're doing, and there's no point in slogging away at YouTube if you feel like it's not working.
Yeah, but I'm still so hopeful about it is the thing.
Yeah.
Because, like, if one fucking video just hit a little bit, it would, like, I wouldn't be saying any of this stuff right now.
Yeah, attention is just so expensive. It's tough competition on the internet nowadays.
Sure, yeah. But it happens all the time. Is a video just gets pushed out a little bit on YouTube, and, you know, you just see it. You can look at these channels' analytics, and they go from gaining 0 subscribers to 100 a day, 100 a day, 100 a day, 100 a day. Some channels gain thousands a day. Like my friend Graham, he's constantly getting thousands of subscribers per day, and I don't need to be at that level. But, like, all I want is for my daily subscriber count to go from 5 a day to 10 a day to 20 a day to 50 a day, and then back down to 10 a day for a while. But I haven't even got, like, there hasn't been a blip on the radar.
You can't, I'm just saying, it's like, even hearing you, it's like, you can't be in a mindset that it's out of your control, because that sucks. Like, you've gotta figure out a way.
But what else can I do?
I don't know. I was like, test the ads, like, test new channels. I was like, dude, make a fucking video make another FBA video. I don't know. Like,
I made one. I filmed one today. I mean, I'm still doing FBA videos. I'm just mixing in so much.
People, like, I'm just saying, like, it's like, if you try literally everything and it doesn't work, then stop. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just like, it's not, like, maybe what you're doing is just being like, this shit's not always fun. It's not supposed to always be fun. So, like,
I do. And that's the thing, is I do think of it as, I try to treat it as a job now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not only doing it for fun, and I think that's okay to admit. I want it to be something where I do put in the work and hone my craft and get better at making videos, and but I also just want it to sort of, you know, like, how would you feel if your 5th book had 3 readers?
Yeah.
Right?
Then clearly I'm doing something wrong with the marketing if my 5th book has 3 readers.
True. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should try ads just for... I just don't think any channels that grow, like, really high quality, loyal subscriberships are doing it through anything other than organic. Like, I just don't see that out there. Like, these channels that I look up to, like, they're not running ads.
Do you know, like, have you, like, dude, message people, see, like, how did you grow your channel? Like, if you're really sincere, like, people will, not all of them, but some people will tell you.
Yeah.
It's like, you gotta, like, do digging.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I've just looked at it enough that I kind of know that it's, people, like, really do just point to the algorithm. And it's like, it's such a cop out. I get that. I hate that it's like not in your hands, but it's like obviously if you're making good content, if you're doing all this stuff, if your keywords are there, if your titles and your thumbnails are solid, like then it's just kind of like something needs to strike, you know, and it happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't.
I think that in the future, a lot of these algorithms will be open source and they'll be like auditable, because I was even in an Uber the other day. He was like, yeah, like 3 days ago, I got so many rides and today I'm not getting any. I'm like, oh, is it because it's less busy today, or because Uber like changed their algorithm on you and they're like you're their object in some fucking A/B test of people's salaries or something? Like, you really don't know. And
like he's not getting rides fed to him.
Exactly.
Right.
And I was like, damn, like I bet you'd have a lot less anxiety if you just knew what was causing this. And he was like, yeah, I would. And these people are being like jerked around by algorithms nowadays. I remember once on Amazon, my sales got cut in half overnight just from an algorithm change.
Yeah.
And it's like, you want, these big tech companies are almost becoming these like governments / utilities, and it's like fucked that they can just like adjust the algorithms for their own benefits.
I'm so over like all of that shit. Like, I don't know. That's why like I just want to simplify and do things that are, I don't know.
I think the future. Sorry.
No, that's about it. Just yeah, it would just be enjoyable to kind of just have that platform. Like if YouTube grew, then you know that would grow my newsletter, that would grow the podcast,
and if your newsletter grew, that would grow YouTube.
Yeah,
it's just like, I guess it's just like, just
well,
think about the future being
like,
inevitable, and then how do you reach it? Like, you like.
That's a good point. I think my mindset like towards like business and growth has just been weird lately, for sure. Like what you're saying right now is like probably what I would have said like 6 months ago.
Yeah. It's just like there's always like there's always more white space that you haven't found. It's like just to be aware that there's probably a bunch of things that you're not doing that you could be doing is hopeful. And it's true too. Yeah. Like, dude, how long has YouTube been a thing? 10 years? Well, what are people going to be doing in 5 years to get traction? What are going to be people doing in like more years? Yeah. It's like these things always evolve. And if we listen to music from the 70s, it's like, wow, music is like much more complex nowadays, and people have like built upon the past. And it's just like, I can't give you an answer because I don't know. Yeah. But I'm sure if you just like stay ahead of the curve and keep learning, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, I just hope it gets to some point soon. And right now I'm just trying stuff. Yeah, I'm just trying stuff, seeing what happens kind of.
Yeah. I think that the future of these, like, I think the future of algorithms is protocols. And what I mean by that is like YouTube is this like black box algorithm where we throw things in and sometimes they get shot up into the stars. But email is a protocol where you throw things in and you know exactly where they're going to get shot. There's nothing random about it. There's nothing unknown about it. If you send it to someone's address, then someone's going to get it. And that's because email is a protocol that one company doesn't own. And I think that protocols are going to be the future of social networks, of like these big internet machines, because they benefit the creators and they benefit everybody involved as opposed to one centralized party. So I think that protocols are it's just not very easy to like make a protocol. But I see it as becoming more and more common, especially with crypto being able to give a large amount of people financial incentive to spread something around.
Yeah. What other applications could that be applied to? Like other than say like email and communication?
I mean, imagine if Instagram was a protocol and instead of email just like doing it was a protocol and anybody could make an Instagram viewer app, and Google would make one and Facebook would make one and someone else would make one, and like one could like show the likes. It would be kind of a competition.
So it's like rather than uploading to Instagram, like maybe it still is uploading to Instagram, but like you can view it through all these other mediums kind of.
I mean, even think about the podcast is that way. We upload it to this like public RSS feed that's like accessible via a URL, and then these different podcast apps will pull it from that
and can add features on top of it. And
Exactly.
that's interesting. Yeah. That's a pretty good idea. Is anyone trying to do anything like that? Like say with like photo and video sharing?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
That would be really cool. Like what if you could build the entire ecosystem of where photos and videos live, and then the Instagrams or the Twitters or the whatevers just kind of make interfaces and like features. And
Yeah. I have a feeling it would be hard to do if you're not actually building any, like, I feel like the next social network has to, it's got to be something that would succeed as a centralized party, and then the protocol aspect just like makes it more enticing. But I don't think people are like, conscious enough to just switch for these like philosophical reasons. And
not at all. Yeah, no, I have very low expectation for people to do that unless it's, you have to sell by having an enticing offer, right? Like if you have something that's good for the world, the way to get it out to people is to make it better for them in the ways that matter to them than the one that's not good for the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think there's probably a million different ways that this stuff could be spread around, but I do think that having a decentralized community-owned thing is something that's really interesting to me. Have I talked to you about Decred, cryptocurrency?
No, haven't heard of it.
Okay, so Bitcoin, it like aims to be like modern gold, a store of value. And the people that build on Bitcoin are all volunteers. And like I think like Twitter just announced a fund to pay Bitcoin developers. And there's so many companies that are trying to fuel the Bitcoin ecosystem. And the miners keep it secure. And like there's transaction fees to fuel the network. And these transaction fees go to the miners. But Decred is this system where like it's pretty much exactly like Bitcoin at the core, but the governance is a bit different. And what I mean is, if I send you Decred, then I just send it to your address the same way, but instead of 100% of the transaction fees going to the miners, basically these computers that like all keep a record of our transaction around the world, 60% goes to the miners. I believe 30% of it, I might have mixed up the 60-30, but 30% of it, let's say, goes to people that are staking there. So I could say, I'm going to lock up my Decred for this amount of time. And in exchange, I get to have a vote on the network in terms of like, do we want to develop an iOS app or do we want to develop an Android app? And by staking your thing, you are entitled to that pool of 30%. So if I stake 100 Decred, then in like 3 months, I might get back like 102 Decred. So I'm able to earn by locking my thing up and voting on it. And then, it's like, okay, well, if we vote to build an iOS app, well, how are we going to pay developers to do it? Well, the other 10% of transaction fees go to this publicly owned Decred treasury that's not owned by anyone. And the system, if in the system a vote happens that says we want to build the iOS app and we want to pay this developer this amount of money to build the iOS app with these checkpoints or whatever, then if it gets enough votes, then that happens. And then after building it, then they get their Decred released to them. And it's this like autonomous organization that almost supports itself. And I think it's interesting because they're trying to be a store of value like Bitcoin. And it's like, if Bitcoin were to fail, maybe this one would succeed or something. But even more so, I think it's just the core concept is this decentralized autonomous organization that has no leader, that cannot be shut down, is powerful.
Yeah, the whole decentralized concept is so intriguing, and it's something that like the word decentralized, like I probably first heard that in like 2012 when I first heard of Bitcoin, and it didn't mean anything to me the way it means something to me just in the last, say, 12 months. It's just how interesting decentralization really is. And weirdly, where my head went during a lot of that, it's like, it almost sounds like you're making an an online government when you talk about that
You are.
stuff too.
Yeah.
It's crazy
In a sense, yeah.
and
Or an online company. Go on.
and it almost sounds like rules to a game or something too. You know, it's like you're just creating these it's like I don't know. It's like you can set the rules and then you play by the rules and it's all online. It's all digital. It's like it's like a real life game.
Yeah, and it's like thinking of something even like Uber, where you could create a system like that runs on a blockchain, is like verifiable. It's like, all right, drivers get 90%. Like this, like the Uber 2 company gets 10% to maintain the cost, to do due diligence and all of that. Like you could even do something like that, and like if having it decentralized made drivers, it's like if drivers could get 90% instead of 70%, then they'd probably do it. Like if riders knew that drivers were making more, then they'd probably sign up for this. It's like,
I mean, decentralization kind of makes so much sense for everything except for the actual government. But maybe at some point the government is decentralized, and like maybe that's just how the entire country operates, is that, you know, like think about it right now, like how in the Decred example, 10% goes off to, like, you know, fund new projects, or well, right now 40% of our income goes to the government, right? But the problem is that that's like, and then we vote for how that's spent indirectly through electing politicians to represent us and stuff like that. And like, you know, what if it was like, what if there were no like leaders of the entire country, and it was all just kind of like this public decentralized democracy?
Yeah, and there's gonna be a lot of gray area where the government serves so many purposes. So like, I don't know. It's like, will there be a worldwide decentralized currency like Bitcoin that's not owned by any government? It's like, who knows? Maybe. But certainly there's going to be a lot of these companies that come in and release these protocols that end up getting adoption. Like, I don't know. People. One thing people call it is like Web 3, where like Web 1 was static content, Web 2 was user submitted content that's much more polished, and Web 3 is like the internet of value, people call it, where like you can actually like transact value online and like have all these new services. And I think that it's like, it's taking a while. The, call it, masses don't quite wrap their head around it. There hasn't been that many powerful use cases, but I think that they're gonna start happening.
What are some other ones that exist right now? Like other use cases of that you know of, if any? I mean, not to put you on the spot, but I'm just curious about like how else this can be used, or like what's coming.
So it was like, let me think. Like Decred is a good example because it's like they have this like treasury, and I think that I feel like a lot of nothing comes to mind right now. I feel like what's happening in crypto a lot is these companies are all doing similar strategies, and then someone's going to try something that really hits, and then all of the new companies are going to be trying that. It's like digging for a needle in a haystack, and it's like people are going to need to find these like keys to crypto, and until like people find enough and there's like common accepted practices, it's going to be hard for these projects to like get traction. But I don't know, even like you could say like Binance Coin is another interesting example where there's this centralized company that is making money on their exchange through like transaction fees. But they're keeping all of that money in crypto, and they have this thing BNB that is like basically the fuel for their entire ecosystem, whether it's like gives people discounts and like it's used to pay for transactions on their decentralized exchange, which I know I'm using a lot of lingo right now, but it's like basically they're building all this technology and allowing BNB to be this like the way that people like, it's like, oh, you want to transact on the network, you don't pay Binance anything, but you pay the system a certain amount of BNB coin. So that's also an interesting thing where like they are this like massive technology that people are using, and they're being incentivized to like hold Binance Coin for all these reasons. So
Yeah. Or like, I mean, Brave would be an example of this, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Which I think is incredibly interesting.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Brave, it's like rewarding publishers online basically via their native URL or their like Reddit username or Twitter username, and like based on the amount of attention people get, they get rewarded in this BAT coin, and then they're allowing to pay people for viewing ads, and
Right.
so
So it creates a more direct relationship between paying for the ads and the sort of consumer of the ad, right?
yeah, and
Or of the attention or the content.
yeah. I think eventually, even like for like Facebook ads, it's like it would be nice if there was this like public auditable system where you could like know that Facebook isn't just fucking with the algorithm. And it's,
Even for advertisers. I mean,
yeah.
wouldn't it be crazy to kind of know like how much on Facebook ads is being spent on you
Yeah.
like as a user? I mean, that would be and like you said, I think probably the biggest value of that would be that it puts everything out in the open, because it's never out in the open. I mean, as an advertiser, you really just spend a bunch of money. It says you got this many impressions. It says you got this many clicks. It's like you kind of have to trust a lot of it, right?
And it's also because like they're incentivized to not lie about it, because in the end, everyone is tracking. Like,
Yeah.
you track the value up to like the dollars you make, and if it's not working for you, then you're gonna stop advertising.
Sure.
So.
Sure. Yeah. But it could still be.
Facebook ads isn't some one big like exit scam.
No,
or something.
totally. But it could still have like a you made me imagine a layer of transparency that doesn't exist right now.
Yeah, and it's slowly coming. Just like technology takes a while to adapt, and until this layer of transparency actually gives companies a competitive advantage, it won't be worth it. But it's gonna quickly, I think, give companies an
I'm trying to go
advantage.
deeper on YouTube ads right now. I feel like Facebook ads is just so like done. I don't know. Like, I'm not having good experiences with Facebook ads recently. I'm not saying this as an official statement.
Yeah.
Don't call me out on it. But like, yeah, I mean, it just seems like Facebook has gotten really expensive, and YouTube, I think people underestimate how interesting the targeting you can do on YouTube is compared to Facebook. Like, it's completely different, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, let's say you were trying to sell speakers, and on Facebook, you would be like, I don't know, you'd target people that are like in the market, shoppers, maybe have visited, maybe have typed something about speakers recently or spoken it near their phone. No, I'm just kidding. And, or like they're in this demographic, or they're interested in this page and this page, which has to do with speakers or audio or music or something like that. That's how you target on Facebook. Then that user is just browsing Facebook and it shows up, right?
Right.
Whereas you take that on YouTube, and you could put all the same demographic stuff, but then you could have your ad show up on a video that user might type in best speakers under $500, and then your ad shows up on a video about what speakers to buy. Like, that is so much more direct than Facebook.
Yeah. I think there's.
And it's cheaper. I mean, everything I see about it, it's cheaper. And even the way you're charged on YouTube seems like too good to be true. I mean, so you're only charged if somebody watches the 30 seconds of your ad. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. 30 seconds?
Yeah.
I mean, think about how many people are skipping your ad just to get,
Well, it's
the ones that are, yeah.
It's a better way to measure it, just because you get the more intent users. But in the end, it's like it's all supply and demand, and like the supply of 30-second views is much lower than the supply of like people scrolling. So it all like it kind of evens out. But
Yeah. But it always interests me how they do that, how they really do that, is because like, I mean, the pricing per 30-second view must be dynamic based on how many impressions they had to give. They must do that, because otherwise,
Yeah,
like what if you
it
had
is.
like the most boring ad of all time, and it had to show like 1 million people your ad just to get one person to watch 30 seconds? Like, it has.
it is
Right.
that's what I'm saying. Is
Yeah.
it's dynamic.
Yeah. But still, it's like that allows you. I mean, on Facebook, it's not like that. I mean, on Facebook, it's I mean, I guess impression based, really.
Well,
I mean,
it's dynamic on every platform. It's like if you have content that's resonating more, that's easier to click, then your cost is going to be directly proportional to how many more people are clicking it.
yeah. But I think it's still. I mean, I don't know if there's an equivalent on Facebook which would be comparable to the fact that on YouTube, if somebody is not your market and doesn't watch, you're literally not charged for that. But I guess it's factored into your overall price from the ones that are charged.
There's like, I see it as similar just because on Facebook you can set your objective. Do you want a lot of impressions? Do you want a lot of clicks?
Yeah.
And if you want clicks, then you're going to be charged per click. If you want conversions, you're going to be charged per conversions.
Right.
And Facebook is going to show it to the people that they think are going to do the most. But YouTube is the same way. If you want conversions, they're going to show you based on people who are likely to convert.
Yeah.
And in the end, your cost per conversion is it's just the actual cost that you have to spend per.
Yeah. That's true. I think the real sort of benefit of what I'm saying is it just seems a lot easier to keep it cheaper. Like,
yeah, I mean, because what I see is there's not as much competition probably on YouTube ads because making videos is a lot more difficult.
Right. Like, I mean, I was like I recently did this that free training model, like webinar type of thing, and it just seemed like Facebook was like just more effort than it's even worth, honestly. Like it everything was more expensive. They're constantly like disapproving things and things aren't working. And
oh, dude, I fucking hate Facebook.
whereas like YouTube, you just throw it up, and you're instantly getting like 3 times cheaper clicks than Facebook. It's like wait, what?
It all just comes down to like sometimes Facebook is better, sometimes YouTube is better. But Facebook, I can tell, dude, from the DNA of the company, like Facebook is such shit in terms of how they treat their advertisers. Like I've heard it from so many people, but I'm running ads with a business partner under his account, and I put my business details accidentally on 2 ad accounts because I have one and then we have one, and then I got banned. They're like, I got banned from advertising on Facebook, just like permanently on all of my accounts, and I'm just like, I've gotten banned before. I did an ad that said in capital letters, "Do you use Google Chrome?" And then it's like, that's not like explicitly banned because I've read the policy and it's vague, but when they deactivated my account before and they never tell you why, and you have to appeal it without knowing the reason.
It's like Amazon. Amazon's just like that. I mean, if you have to appeal, I mean,
they assume that you're like trying to fuck with them, and it's like, this policy is so long, and it's like, I talked to people and they were like, clearly this is not bad intention. Clearly this ad should be fine. I don't know why it got disapproved, and they don't even tell their support reps why shit gets disapproved. It's almost like this fucking.
Yeah, it's a disaster.
Yeah, it's like very like, it's like you can feel how like unethical it feels slimy. It's like if someone's breaking the rules, you can't say you're breaking a rule that I won't tell you what the rule is.
Yeah, it's like some playground shit, right? It's like weird, but yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to go deeper on YouTube ads. I think it just feels better too. I don't know. Facebook just feels slimier. The ads feel slimier. The whole ecosystem of Facebook just feels slimy. I don't know.
It does, because they're like, you can just tell. There's all of these little like things that they do in search of their like objective for engagements, and I think I don't think that it's evil intentions. I just think that there's these like small lack of empathy and lack of thinking it through, and like their whole motto as a company is like fail fast and break things and like find what works. But they just, I think, did that so aggressively that there's these like small moments of consent that are not respected. And they just like shove things in your face, and like they like don't respect you as a user, and they're just like, clearly you feel like more of a product.
Totally.
Person.
I think that's probably part of what's influencing why I'm even saying this is I don't know. I would be much happier just getting like YouTube ads to really be cranking, and then just being like, fuck Facebook. Like what? Like, I think we've talked about DHH and Jason Fried other times, but I know like they have a strict rule of like they don't give $1 to Facebook.
Yeah.
Like
it's like good for them. Like
I'm just saying it's just interesting, but like, you know, you are kind of voting with your dollars, right? I mean, think about it. Like, if you're advertising with Facebook, like you're literally just handing them money. Like they have very little, I mean, they have costs, but like an ad network is basically printing money, right?
Yeah.
And if you're spending $1,000 a day on Facebook ads, like holy shit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a serious income to a company just from one user. Like,
yeah, and it's such like I was spending $1,000 a day for a few months on Facebook ads, and for them it's like I can't even talk to a person.
Right. Yeah.
It's like these little things, and it's like, all right, well, what am I gonna do? I'm busy. I'm just gonna like think about it, and in like maybe a couple weeks, I'll try and make my best attempt to get it reinstated. But it's just like this. It just feels like I'm treated so unfairly, and like this is my income. It's like this is how I pay my rent. It's like I have no bad intentions. Like I'm trying to follow the rules as best as I can. If they treat me like this, they treat a lot of people like this. It's like that's why people hate Facebook. There's these little things that build up over time. It's like people even say in a relationship, like it's never what you're fighting about. It's everything else.
That's a good point. And that's a very like detailed observation that I think you're having is because people do just hate Facebook, but not really know why. And I think you're right. I think it's kind of like the summation of all these little things.
Yeah. It's like you feel slimy, and maybe we all don't have quite the self-awareness to know exactly what makes us feel that way. It's like sometimes you just hear someone talk and you viscerally don't like them, and it doesn't even matter what they're saying. Yeah,
it's just grating, right? Yeah. That's how Facebook is. I mean, dude, I think about my own Facebook use for the past 3 to 5 years. No, really forever. I mean, but even since starting my personal brand, before that, I didn't use Facebook at all. Like I was a ghost. I didn't post anything for, since like 2009 or some shit probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then like I'm like, oh, Gary Vee, personal brand, I need to be on every platform, right? Yeah. And so, I started my Facebook group and my page and all that stuff, and it's like, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting, but like, I mean, if you look at the way that I use my Facebook page, I'm usually like linking a YouTube video or trying to give my YouTube people like a deeper way of sort of connecting with the things that I'm doing. But I don't think of Facebook as a content pillar for me. Like for example, like I have tried this way in the past. Is like, you don't see me taking my videos and putting them natively on Facebook. Like I just don't see any reason to do that. And I've never gone live on Facebook once ever. Yeah. Which like I technically, like people would say I should be doing that, or I'm crazy to not be doing that, but I've never done it once.
I mean, people say, people on the internet say fucking everything.
That's like, true.
You like even going through Twitter replies, it's like everyone has a fucking opinion of one thing or a different thing, and it's just like overwhelming, and you just gotta, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming to take everyone's opinion seriously, and there's all these people running around with their heads cut off.
I have enjoyed Twitter as a platform more the past year or two than ever before. I mean, I never got into it, but I don't think I'm a good Twitter user. Like, because I mainly do the same thing on Twitter. Is I'll like post that I have a video or some shit. But it's also because I don't really have a following on Twitter. If I did, I'd probably respect it as a creator more.
Yeah.
But right now, I enjoy browsing it. I enjoy because I can find thoughtful things and stuff like that.
The problem with Twitter, I think Twitter is a bit more intellectual than like Instagram and all that, because it's like thoughts as opposed to pictures. But the problem with Twitter is that it's still a fucking drug. Like you scroll through Twitter. Here's my experience with Twitter, and I've eventually followed it. So like it has gotten more addictive over time. I actually deleted the app the other day because I was checking it too much.
Oh damn!
And I'll just do it on the mobile browser now. So I do it a bit, but it's a bit of a higher jump to get to.
Right.
But Twitter, you open the app, all right, that's a thought. Oh, interesting thought. That's the algorithm. It's built to show you the interesting thoughts. Like, oh yeah, that's interesting. Oh yeah, 1% of this and this had this 5% interesting quote. Cool. You read the replies. It's like 5 people love it. 1 person made a funny comment. 2 people hate the guy personally for it. And it's like, all right. Click the back button on to scroll. It's like, oh, a different thought. Oh, interesting thought. The same process for fucking 50 different thoughts. And they're all unrelated and they're all incredibly interesting. And it's this scatterbrained, like,
you've been saying this for a while, how Twitter is like literally programming ADD. I think you're right. This is why I told you. I told you about one of my ideas for like a Chrome extension or something. Like, I'm not particularly guarded about this one, so if somebody wants to create it, like, let me know. I'll like use it. But something to like sort groups, because I feel like Facebook groups are the only like useful thing, because it fixes the ADD problem you're talking about. Because when you're scrolling through the Facebook feed, it's arguably the same as what you just described with Twitter. Right. It's just random shit from everywhere, right? And you join a group so that you can get this curated content about a particular subject, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm in a bunch of groups. Obviously I have my section of groups that are, say, Amazon and e-commerce related. I'm in some car groups for fun. I'm in some watch groups for fun. I'm in some philosophy and thinking groups for fun. What else? I have probably 5 or 6 different like subgroups of groups, right? Mm-hmm. And Facebook allows you to skip the news feed and just look at your group's feed. But what they don't allow you to do, unless I'm very stupid and incompetent at technology, which is entirely possible, is sift your groups by groups. And what I mean is, I can go into one particular Amazon FBA group or one particular car group, but I'm not going to remember to check all the groups that I want to check. But what I do want to do is to be able to look at my like car groups and look at my Amazon groups, then look at my watch groups, and then like kind of like go into my like different folders. Interests. Right. Because if I go into my groups tab, it's ADD, because like maybe I'm not in work mode and now I'm seeing some, oh my God, Amazon just changed this thing and everyone's freaking out. And like, that's not what I wanted to see right now. Or maybe the opposite. Maybe I am in work mode and I'm trying to, post some Amazon related stuff in my group. And then I see like a picture of a car that's for sale. And I'm like, oh shit, that's a sweet car. And then I like go on Instagram for 45 minutes. Like, I want to be able to, like put these groups in folders, like it's like multi-Reddits, which I never use on Reddit, by the way. But I think that on Facebook, I'd really like that. Because the groups are the only useful thing, but it's not, I can't use it effectively.
Yeah. I think what it comes down to is like, for something like email, there's all these different providers. And because email is decentralized, it's like, there's a lot of this like, kind of, they want to like give you what's most relevant to you. Whereas like, and like there's different providers that like will sort it different ways. But in the end, you're going to kind of get what you want to get. Whereas Facebook, it's like they want to engage you and they want you to spend the most time on the platform. So it's not necessarily in their best interest to like give you exactly what you want. They're just trying to give you like the most addictive mix possible.
Right. It's back to what we talked about a couple episodes ago, maybe, about how these platforms are not optimized for you to have the best experience. They're optimized for some metrics on their end. And maybe you're most likely to stay on the platform when we don't get you exactly what you wanted, but we give you exactly what's going to distract you. Yeah. Right. And because, maybe if I could use Facebook perfectly efficiently, I would just go on and then I'd be done. Right. But because you're being fed these distractions, then holy shit, now I'm arguing about politics, or now I'm like looking at a recipe from how to make a fucking upside down, like, I don't even know, Pop-Tart cake shit. I don't even know like what people are posting and going viral. Like, you're just pulled down the spiraling drain of Facebook.
Yeah. This actually this might be a yeah. This might be an interesting way to like kind of tie the episode back, but this makes me think back to like YouTube and like the algorithm and this and that, and it's like, I just had a thought. It's like, dude, like, where our interests lie in like mental health and like well-being and like how to not get crazy from the internet and like how to live in this new technology world. And it's like, like if you're telling me that that's not relevant or gonna be more relevant. Like, of course it is. And for many, it's just like the algorithms are, and these channels are just the methods, but at the core is the content. And it's just like so obvious to me. It's like, if we keep, like, this is not too niche of a problem to attract an audience. Like, it's fucking mental health. Like, that's everything. It's like, if we can, I just have so much faith in, like, that we're interested in stuff that matters. And it's just like, I think that all the other dominoes are just going to, like, fall in place.
Yeah. I think there's, I mean, for sure the audience is there. And that's interesting. I mean, I don't even think of my content as being mental health content, so that's interesting. But I guess
for sure it is. I mean, that's what your interests are. It's like, we might have like more like, it's all just words. But like,
yeah, it's just words. Because like I guess I feel like the word the term mental health has gone so big lately.
Yeah.
That like I don't even like I almost never say that term or think about it really, like, myself. But like, you're right. I mean, it is part of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just want to talk about shit. I don't know. I mean, I just want to explore anything that interests me. Back to hobbies. That ties it in nicely too. Is like, dude, I put up a video this morning about making coffee. And I wrote about it in my email. I wrote about hobbies. I was saying, like, lately I'm trying to learn how to make better coffee, and I've been riding my bike, and those things have no ROI, and that's the point.
Yeah.
Should we wrap up?
Yeah, I'm down. Should we let's play Twitter game.
Let's do it for the OGs that's been a while. Oh my God, I'm scared. I get nervous for it. Is that weird? I have this like performance anxiety about it.
No, this is the entire game, is to try and like, because the only way to do well is to not. You've already lost.
Damn it. All right, and we'll try again next week at.
Well, this is the thing. It's like I mean, I feel the same way, but it's like the only way is just to forget about it, and like if you're trying to. It's kind of like a theme for our whole thing. It's like, if you try to end up somewhere good, then you end up somewhere bad. And if you over intellectualize it, then you lost from the start.
Yeah. I'm also quick.
We're even over intellectualizing it.
Yeah. We'll get into it in a second. But
yeah.
I remember once we had one that was just so insanely amazing. I'm trying to remember.
And
like,
our expectations forever were raised.
Yeah.
Fucking us.
Yeah. That's why I've performed. But can you remember it right now? Roughly?
Oh, yeah. Word for word. Yeah. I don't know.
I can't remember, but it was like, I remember I hadn't laughed that hard in like a really long time.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. You start.
The
bird
flew
south
before
the
wind
took
it
north
and
overturned
a
previous
thought
that
the
bird
had
that
directions
mattered
at
all.
hashtag
When you least expect it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. We did it. It was flying south, then the wind blew in north. It didn't expect that, but it had to recalculate its entire life philosophy based on experience.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting you to say like east or west. Like I was like, whoa, this wind is like direct in the face.
Oh wow, that's at least a 35 mph wind.
Took a 180. Like
yes. Did it like turn sideways or did it literally like barrel roll on top of itself in the middle of the air?
It was still pointing straight. The wind was just pushing it backwards.
Yeah, it's hey, no explanation needed.
To anyone listening, thanks.
Thank you.
And what else do we say? I guess that's about it.
Yeah, we say our
Peace.
catchphrase, which we don't have. All right,
We sing the TFSR song.
we sing the SpongeBob theme song.
And cut.
All right, Thank you for listening.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.